We are paving a path forward with our curiosity. And the end of that path may be a no, and it may end far sooner than we would like, and that is totally okay. If I need to learn about a personal problem, I need to ask a question about a divorce or a health issue or a business challenge, I use my curiosity to make them more comfortable answering my personal question. The goal is to continue moving forward until the sales conversation's inevitable conclusion. We pave a path forward with our curiosity. Welcome, everyone, to the Close More Sales podcast. Today, we're going to shift how you think about your sales conversations by integrating a crucial skill, curiosity. Now, you might not be thinking of curiosity as a skill to develop or that it requires any extra attention. Aren't you already seeming curious by asking questions? Well, this isn't just about asking more questions. And curiosity as a skill is absolutely something that can be cultivated and improved upon with time. If you embrace what we are going to go over and you do it right, you will find that it's not just about asking questions. It's about strategically using questions and tonality to drill deeper into your prospects' real challenges and motivations. And it's probably your single most underutilized objection handling tool right now. We're here to explore how this approach can clarify your understanding and refine your sales tactics. By the end of just this episode, you will discover how deploying curiosity at all stages, not just discovery, can not only reveal essential insights and deal with objections, but also drive the entirety of your sales process more effectively. So what's the purpose of this show anyway? What is this all about? The purpose of this show is to empower sales professionals and entrepreneurs to push themselves to grow, achieve unimaginable success without burning out, and ultimately transform their lives. I'm Ian Ross, and I am obsessed with all things sales. And I work with teams across the English-speaking world to make more money by asking better questions. The most proven path to achieving financial freedom is maximizing your earning potential, and a sales role is the lowest barrier with the highest possible ceiling for entry onto that path. Anyone can become a killer salesperson with the right techniques, mindset, and consistency. And everything we cover on this podcast is geared toward one thing, helping you close more sales so that you can live the life you want. If you would like to get a sheet breaking down all the things we say on a follow-up call, text follow up, that's 2 words, FOLLOW space UP to 33777, and we'll send you a template of what to say on the phone completely for free. So let's talk about the role of curiosity in sales. This was brought up on a training call I had just yesterday with a team of lead managers. And I said a line that got a lot of attention. I saw a bunch of people write it down. And what I basically said was an explanation after a role play session as to my tonality, as to my approach, as to what I was doing, as to how I asked an additional question after the previous question about everything I did on that role play, was explaining my approach through the idea of being curious. So the member of the team of lead managers, there was a few companies on, but one of the leaders was like, man, it really stood out to me how curious you were. And that's when I said the line, I had a bunch of people write this down, is I said, we are paving a path forward with our curiosity. And the end of that path may be a no, and it may end far sooner than we would like, and that is totally okay. The goal is to continue moving forward until the sales conversation's inevitable conclusion. So if I get a no, that's fine, as long as I stuck to the process and asked questions the right way. I embody curiosity at all times. So they give me an objection, I'm curious as to why they think that way. They ask me for more time, I'm curious as to what I'm missing because they told me they needed to solve this problem right now. If I need to learn about a personal problem, I need to ask a question about a divorce or a health issue or a business challenge, I use my curiosity to make them more comfortable answering my personal questions. We pave a path forward with our curiosity. Let's talk about curiosity for a bit. This is not just a trait for researchers or detectives. Curiosity is fundamental for any successful sales professional. It's the spark that ignites more meaningful conversations and deeper connections with your prospects. Think about it. Curiosity leads us to ask more questions, ask deeper questions. And by asking a deeper question, we build a deeper understanding and connection with that prospect. This creates a more personalized and satisfying experience, honestly, for both parties, for both the prospect, the customer, as well as the sales professional. Instead of just simply sticking to a script and what I have to ask, I have a curiosity-driven approach through my framework that guides the conversation at all times, allows me to offer genuine engagement and have a flexibility to respond to the dynamic needs of the person I am talking to. The approach allows me to uncover really valuable information that might not be immediately obvious, guiding me to then better tailor either the solution itself or how I present a standardized solution so that the prospect feels like this is perfectly in line with what they want. This is really key, is making sure that if I am curious at all times, I can create the sensation within the prospect that this is customized to their exact needs because I was so curious through the way I engage with them and the way I ask questions and the way I even presented the solution that I wanted to present. I still had an aspect of curiosity so that they felt they were offering up agreement that it is for them rather than being forced down a particular path. Why curiosity is so important is because so many salespeople, especially like professional salespeople who've been in this career for a certain amount of time, it usually only takes a few months, maybe 6 months at the most, before they encounter a new challenge. This happens especially when you're either new in sales or you're starting in a new company or you're just in a new industry entirely. You encounter this new issue, which is you now feel like you can finish your prospect sentences for them. You now reach that peak of Mount Stupid, which is that you know what the prospect is going to say next, which means you know what their challenge is before they verbalize it. You know what to recommend before they tell you what their challenge is. You know all these things. You are the expert. The reason it's the peak of Mount Stupid is because you are a genius in your world, but an idiot in your prospects. You're a genius in understanding all the little nuances of your product or service. You know your industry, you know your challenges, you know your competitors, you know all of this, but you don't know anything about your prospect. You may be able to finish this one sentence for them, but so many people who are raising their hand to be sold the exact same thing have different reasons, have different motivations, have different emotional beliefs and adherences to those beliefs underneath their initial motivation, underneath what they even tell you their reason is. Let me give you some examples to paint a clear picture here. If I am, it's top of mind, so I'll bring it up. If I'm selling sales training and the reason someone wants to get better at sales is described to me as, well, because I want to make more money and I know I'm leaving money on the table. If I then immediately assume, because I've encountered that so many times in the selling of sales training, if I assume all the reasons underneath that without asking questions about it and being curious about questions after those questions, I'm running the risk of presenting a type of solution that is actually not exactly what that prospect is looking for. So let's just say they say, I want to make more money. If the reason they want to make more money is because they're already doing great and now they just want to take themselves to that next level so that they can buy a Bugatti instead of the Lamborghini they currently have, right? If they're just trying to do that next level, well, the difference there and the emotion behind that is so gain and luxury oriented that I need to make sure I am orienting my questions and the way I present the solution around something that fits that like top 0.001% of abilities. However, if the person who tells me they want to make more money is because they're not making enough money right now and their credit card is stacking up and getting that, that bill is getting higher and higher because they can't pay off the entire balance every month. And they're getting scared and worried because their kid's about to start private school and they got this other payment and they just signed up for this and just signed up for that. And now suddenly the aspect of not making more is an inevitability of this is going to be a problem eventually and I need to get ahead of this. The emotional orientation around solving that need is so much more pain-oriented and frankly impactful than someone who just wants to go from a Lamborghini to a Bugatti, right? However, the way if I go, what are you looking for in sales training? And they tell me, well, I want to make more money. I know I'm leaving money on the table. And I stop asking questions there. I now actually don't know how to position what I am trying to sell in this instance because I don't understand their reasoning underneath their answer. I don't understand the answer underneath the answer underneath the answer. Only curiosity allows me to go deeper. If I accept what you tell me as the prospect at face value and think there's all the implications underneath that I have figured out without asking more questions, I am just playing a dangerous game. I'm basically flipping a coin at best statistically as to what I'm presenting being exactly what you need and what you want and how you want it. I'm making a mistake by not going deeper. Curiosity is the only way we as the sales professionals can actually force ourselves to go deeper. Because chances are, if you've been doing this a while, if you've been asking questions and selling whatever it is you're selling right now for quite some time at whatever company you're at, whatever industry you're in, you probably do know statistically the next answer to the next question. You know what they're going to say. Or you could maybe pick, it could be this or this, right? It could be one of two things. But chances are what you would talk about would deal with both those things. That's probably true statistically most of the time, more than half the time. However, if you're simply trying to focus entirely on the averages for the sales conversation, there's no reason for you to have that conversation in the first place. Because the reason to get paid doctor money having conversations is in dealing with the nuances of different people's beliefs, different people's reasoning behind things, addressing a product that fits a certain aspect of their need or want, fits the trauma underneath why they need or want that. Finding ways to do that has to happen through being curious and asking about the answer underneath the answer underneath the answer. Your curiosity is the only way to get to that point. If you simply wanted to deal with the law of averages, you might as well be a landing page, right? You're an order taker. You can work behind the menu at McDonald's and sell there instead of actually asking questions about what's important to the person you're talking to. If you want to make the type of money that being in this type of career, in this type of role deserves, you need to get curious. Your enemy is your own thinking of understanding their issue, understanding of your prospects' issues. If you, as soon as you go like, oh, I've seen this before, I've encountered this in the past, I've dealt with prospects just like this, I've heard this challenge before, I know the answer to the question I'm about to ask, I know why they want it, I know why they think they want it, I know everything. You are now just a landing page. You're not a sales professional. The sales professional goes deeper and assumes that every single person they're talking to, even if they're raising their hand for statistically the most average reason of all, they assume that that individual probably has reasons or justifications or, emotional hesitations underneath that reason that are unique to them. And the sales professional cannot assume without asking questions or being curious in the way they make statements to get to that prospect's real reasoning, to get actually to what their motivation is. This gives the sensation to the prospect of a consultative selling type style because I'm not simply presenting the same type of solution regardless to who I'm speaking to. It feels like we are advisors rather than vendors. And this shift is crucial to not just making more money, but also building longer term relationships with some of your clients. Because depending on the industry you're in, you could probably sell them other things in the future, right? So how do we cultivate a naturally curious mindset? It starts with recognizing the value it brings to our interactions. Begin by questioning your own assumptions and opening yourself up to new possibilities in every conversation. Okay? If you're going to be engaging with prospects, understand that being curious is the key to going deeper. And going deeper means you can align exactly what you're selling to what it is they actually feel like they need or want. Otherwise, you are simply a landing page, okay? Ask open-ended questions, meaning questions that cannot be answered with a yes or no, and invite your clients to share more details about what they just said than the surface level answer they gave you. The deep dive reveals the nuances of their needs and preferences. And the nuances is how we can actually solve their problem. Okay? Embrace this entirely. These insights are game changers in anything that is even remotely competitive market. So if you have competitors, if you have other options that the prospect could go for, if you are doing really cold outreach, if you're knocking doors or cold calling, there are so many other things your prospect could be doing than having the conversation with you. So you better be orienting around their challenges and concerns so that you can engage with what they need. I'll give a few more examples here. If I'm talking to someone who's trying to sell their home and they tell me that the reason they're looking to sell their home is because they want to move to Florida, and I don't go deeper into that, I'm missing out on all the juice, right? All the juice is in squeezing deeper and understanding what it is they're actually concerned about. Why are they actually wanting to sell? Where in Florida? Why Florida? Why now? Like, you have to understand those deeper reasons. So if I go, why? Okay, tell me a little bit more about moving to Florida. And I go, well, I've got family there. I don't accept that. What family do you have there? Oh, okay. And so you've got your siblings there. Is there a reason you're wanting to move now instead of, next year or maybe last year? And they tell me, yeah, we're thinking about having kids and I wanted to be near my siblings to get the support. Now I'm starting to understand that they're orienting around feeling planted somewhere and having support and building, like planting roots and feeling supported as they build a new tree, right? That's a very different orientation than moving to Florida because you're retiring and you just want to wind down and be in nicer weather. And I need to make sure I understand what's important to you before I can present the solution. And not just important to you on the surface, but important underneath that, right? So like that's just a quick little example of how people move into Florida. There's many different reasons someone could be moving there. And even saying being near family, that's not enough. Why that family and why now? If I can really understand what's important to you, I can now start orienting my solution as feeling like it's exactly what you need. And that is the responsibility of the great sales professional, is to make sure I can do just that. That's why we were having this conversation. If my curiosity reveals a really key point, which is that I am not a fit for you, I am not going to be able to solve your problem. My product or service is too expensive for what you actually need. If any of these things get revealed in the process of asking deeper questions and going underneath the surface, that is totally okay. I'm going to repeat this. Understand that if me being curious as a sales professional ends in me disqualifying you, or at least you disqualifying yourself, that is okay. It is not my job to sell every single person every single time. It is my job to make sure the person I'm talking to would benefit from the thing I'm trying to sell and wants it in any way, shape, or form and can afford it and is justified in being a prospect and being a lead. Then it is my responsibility to make sure they can take action on that and move forward. But an aspect of any sales professional is sifting and sorting through people who might not actually be a fit. Don't think it's your job to sell every single person. It is your job to sell the people who you are right for whatever it is you sell. Understand that. And an aspect of getting to those people means there will be some people who would never buy anyway. Just accept this and you will be far happier because you can't close 100% of people. It's just not possible. If anyone who says they're closing 100% of people is a flat out scam artist liar, that's not real because people are not all relevant for what you have and what you sell. There's no way that it's just not possible. It's not statistically possible. So embrace the idea that part of your job is to not sell some people. That's part of it. You want it to be more than the people you're disqualifying, but inevitably there will be a certain percentage that aren't right for what it is you sell. So I am okay with it being a no. I just don't want to take too long to realize that no, because we all have the same 24 hours in a day, right? We have the same 24 hours. So how efficient and effective I am in those 24 hours determines how effective I will be as a sales professional and how much money I will make. So I don't want to waste additional time disqualifying someone if I could have disqualified them sooner. That's key. And another thing, when you are curious, you build the right type of rapport, which is trust. And trust with your prospects is the foundation of repeat business and referrals. If you think curiously, it means you will continuously adapt to the responses you receive. Every answer you get to a question is a stepping stone to going deeper. You have this level of engagement and you do it right. Your clients, your prospects, whatever it is, your customers, they feel heard and understood. And when clients feel understood, they're more likely to trust you. And if they're more likely to trust you, they're more likely to buy from you. You also want to use curiosity to uncover hidden needs. Unlocking the sort of hidden needs and desires of your prospects is super valuable. And you might not even realize, or even the prospect realize, that they have something holding them back from trying to make a decision right now or wanting to spend the money on your thing right now, right? There's something probably holding them back. And curiosity can also help me allow the prospect to realize that they are in their own way. Most salespeople are responsible for them losing the deal. It's not marketing. It's not the market in general. It's not interest rates. It's not the Fed. It's not the president. It's none of that. It's the salesperson themselves. They're usually shooting themselves in the foot or speaking too much, saying too much in a way that blows up the sale. However, it's also true that plenty of prospects are capable of making a decision right now, but they are also in their own way. Most people in society are in their own way more than something else is in their way. And so if you have something that provides enough value to a prospect that can actually solve their problem, chances are the prospect who's not willing to make a decision right now is in their own way. So how do we get them to get out of their own way? You can't force them. It's not to push them. It's not to hard close them. It's not to shout at them or ask them to take their shirt off. It's none of that stupid stuff. It's all about making sure you can be curious enough to allow them to realize their own hesitations. So we want to make sure we are framing our questions as a way to dig deeper. So how do we do that? We want to understand the why behind the what. So, and it's not always through a why question, but understanding someone's why and their why behind every what, it helps peel back layers of motivation. Active listening is crucial here. This is not just about hearing responses. It's about comprehending that there's reasoning behind what they just said and responding thoughtfully. This skill is what transforms good salespeople into great ones. So if you want to ask next level questions, you should always be listening to what they said to you. Listen for what they said. Listen for keywords. Listen for motivation. Listen for problems, for hesitations, and then ask more questions about it. The advice I often give in being tactful with your curiosity to avoid the sensation of prying, but also making sure you actually understand what it is that your prospect is thinking and saying, is to, if I hear the answer to a question that I ask, and especially as it involves motivation. So let's say I'm asking, why would you even want this right now? And the answer is surface level. How do I actually make sure, first, how should I think about knowing I've asked enough questions, or if I should ask deeper questions anyway to really understand what's going on? Because most of you are probably like, okay, Ian, I get it. I'm sure I want to be curious, but how? How do I do this? Or when should I even know to do this? The when you should be doing this is if you ask a question regarding someone's motivation. And again, motivation can either be classified as an aspect of gain or the avoidance of pain most of the time. So either way, they give you an answer, and you can't ask. If someone were to give you an answer and you cannot write a 5-paragraph essay as if we were still in school about the topic, if you can't write a 5-paragraph essay about your prospect's motivation, you don't understand enough about their reasoning. Here are some examples that I'm truly thinking of off the top of my head, so I hope they make sense. I gave the example before. If someone's interested in a product that is going to help them make more money, and I ask, what has you wanting to have this conversation right now? And they tell me, yeah, well, I'm looking to make more money. And I go, okay, tell me a little bit more about why that's important to you. And they go, well, I haven't been making enough money and I know it's time to make more. Most salespeople just move on from there. Got it. The reason they want this is to make more money. You couldn't write a 5-paragraph essay on their motivation. You don't know anything. They just repeated their same answer again. It is now your job to go deeper. So, okay, simple questions around this could be like, how long have you been feeling that way? I've been feeling that way for the last few years, actually. Okay, what happened a few years ago that made you realize you needed to make more money? Easy question. Well, I've been in this role and then I missed out on a promotion. Okay, what was that like when you missed out on the promotion? Wasn't fun, I'll tell you that much. Okay, but you've still been there for a few years, even though you missed on the promotion. Yeah, it pays pretty well, just not as well as I'd like. Okay, if you don't mind me asking, how much more would you be hoping to make from what you're currently? Just so I can have an idea of your numbers. I should be making an extra $5,000 a month. Let's just say $5,000 a month. Okay, so an extra $60,000 a year. You probably felt that way though. A few years ago when you missed out on the promotion. So how much should you be making more now if you missed out on that a couple of years ago? Well, maybe even $10,000 a month. $10,000 a month. Okay, so $120,000 more a year. What are the types of things you'd be spending that money on? Like if you make it an extra 6 figures every year, what would your life look like? This is how we are able to write a 5-paragraph essay on someone's motivation. But the answer of, well, they want this thing that helps them make more money, and they told me the reason why is because they have been wanting to make more money for 2 years. That is not enough reason. You should understand them, and you can only do that through your curiosity. You are a genius in your world, but an idiot in theirs. You don't really know his motivation. You don't know her hesitations. You don't know that team's challenges. You think you do, but if you don't get them to verbalize what's actually important to them, you will never be as effective as if you go deeper. You need to go deeper. And curiosity is the way to do that at all times. Let's talk about using curiosity to handle and learn from rejections. The same way I said that it's inevitable that you can't sell every single person you talk to, rejection is a part of being in sales. But curiosity helps us understand and also learn from each no. So each rejection, each no you get offers an insight into what did and did not work. So instead of shrinking back from objections or repeating memorized lines as if that's going to work every single time, understand you need to dig deeper. Ask clarifying questions. A no and a not yet doesn't have to be permanently a no and a not yet. Just because I want to make sure I understand their hesitations. So some examples. Someone goes, yeah, I think I want this. I feel like it's a little bit too much money. Okay. I get why you'd think that. I've of course heard that before. Tell me a little bit more about that hesitation. And they go, well, it's just I've never spent this much on any program or something. And so that's why it feels like it's too much money, even though obviously it's to make more money. Okay. So it sounds like you are aware the goal of this is not to simply be spending money, it's to be able to make more money. And I go, well, yeah, I understand that. All right. So then it doesn't even sound to me like I'm hearing it, that it's an issue in regards to how much money it is. it sounds like you actually just don't feel like you're going to make that money back. Well, no, it's not that. Okay, well, tell me about why you feel like you would be able to make your money back with this. Now the prospect is explaining their reasonings. It's like, well, no, because I know getting that level of support or learning about this thing and getting access to that course or getting access to this, whatever it is. Now they can start orienting and explaining their reasonings for wanting to move forward. So they give me all that, and I go, okay, I just want to make sure I understand. I'm hearing you say all these things, but you still feel like X would be the amount that you're going to charge. X is too much money to get those results. Like, do you not feel like you would take action on this if you actually spent that money? My curiosity gives the prospect a chance to close themselves. Okay? Our big approach to sales in general is that we don't sell, we get people to sell themselves. I usually don't even hear objections. And I don't mean that I don't get objections. I mean I don't hear them in the traditional sense of how most salespeople are thinking about objections. Because the way I hear objections is this is just the natural, they're revealing their hesitations. And I'm seeking more clarity as to their justification for those hesitations stopping them from taking action. And I'm doing that at all times. I don't snap my fingers and suddenly go into objection handling mode. In fact, Steve Trang and I talk all the time about having kind of an objection-proof process. We don't hear objections. We are just constantly going through the same process of using curiosity to seek more clarity about what's important to you and helping you determine if you want to move forward or not. You close yourself. That's all that matters. I'm not trying to sell you. You have to close yourself. Okay? This is really, really key. I don't force you to do anything you don't want to do. I simply ask questions and get you to reveal your hesitations, your concerns. If there's a mismatch in how you're thinking, it comes about through my questions. This is the way to get people to spend ludicrous amounts of money with you or sell you an asset at an extreme discount, if that's what you're doing, is to be curious so that the prospect feels like this situation, that it feels so unique to them. Everyone's life feels truly and utterly unique to them because they are in their own heads. And so I need to make sure you feel like I understand your uniqueness by seeking more clarity so that if I'm making a recommendation, it fits the criteria of your own uniqueness, which is exactly your situation, rather than going, here's the one size fits all, here you go, right? You know this, right? People pay more for something that feels like it's more nuanced and niche than something that is broader. And the example I think I've heard, I'm obviously riffing here. I think it was Alex Hormozi's $100 million offers. I think was the point that like, hey, here's a course on time management. Someone might pay like $20 for that. But if it's time management for sales reps, okay, well now someone might pay $200 for that. But if it's time management for outside sales reps, maybe it's $500 because that feels more customized. But if it's time management for outside sales reps who sell home improvement products, specifically focused on products that can be help covered by homeowners insurance, that's worth $2,000. It might be the exact same information that I would teach in the general time management course for $20, but I can charge 100 times, if not more than, for the specificity. That's a marketing aspect. However, that principle also applies to how I ask questions to a prospect. Even if I'm just selling, let's just say I'm just selling a time management course. All right, here's my time management course. And on the surface, in the example I gave, that's worth $20. But by asking questions and making sure I understand the person I am talking to and all their reasons and hesitations underneath their surface level answers, I can now position it as feeling as customized because I understand them enough that it's worth $20,000. Okay? This is where the real value is. It's that principle that relates to marketing also relates to making sure you go deeper, and you go deeper into what your prospect is facing by being curious. We're paving a path forward with our curiosity. Okay? The barriers you hear as objections should simply view them as being revealed simply because the prospect wasn't comfortable revealing their real issue. They might have revealed their initial hesitation, but even usually the first answer they give you as to why they can't do this or why they can't do this right now is a smokescreen. And curiosity is the key to getting to what's really important. And sometimes the prospect's not even sure what's really important. They're just hesitant to take action. It's our job to go deeper. Embrace every no you hear as a necessary part of your professional development and think curiosity is my way for me to grow. It's my way to figure out what's important to them and help them pave a path forward, help them move forward if they can fix them. So we can also talk about a little bit here how every stage of the sales process can benefit from a curious approach. So during follow-ups, curiosity sparks a new interest. It's like, hey, I'm calling up because it's, almost the end of the season. And I realized we forgot to ask you a question when I was looking at the notes. And I had some questions I wanted to ask you again to see if there's a way our new thing can help solve that problem, because I'm not even sure right now. That's a powerful follow-up. If I'm negotiating a price point, if I'm asking the right questions, it can help the person I'm negotiating with realize that they had true values that are more important than the nuances we were fighting about in regards to the number. If I am hearing an aspect of an objection, I can go deeper with curiosity to figure out what's really important about underneath that objection, about what's really important to them, about why they're feeling hesitant right now. My curiosity helps me do this. If it's post-sale, curiosity after the sale is done is what leads to repeat business and referrals, because now they feel heard and more listened to. Understand this idea. Curiosity is everything. Every conversation is a chance to dive deeper into your prospect's world where you are an idiot, and you can help them navigate their own decisions with clarity by you openly conveying that you lack clarity on how they make decisions with your curiosity. Keep nurturing that curiosity. It is the key to mastering the art of sales. If you want a cheat sheet on what exactly to say during a follow-up call to avoid the usual, I'm just following up or I'm just checking in, text follow-up to 33777. We'll send you our template completely for free. Keep practicing, stay curious, and you can transform an everyday hesitant sales conversation into a sales success. You absolutely can do this. Be curious, and you will help the prospect reveal what is important to them. I'm Ian Ross. This has been the Close More Sales Podcast.